Hi, this is Jamie Leha with the Paper Heart Project, sharing a layout I made using the June 2013 Little Black Dress kit. I decided to scrap lift an older layout that I made. I loved the mix of pattern paper in this older layout and the painting, the circle dots, so I decided to replicate that using supplies from my kit. My background page is the B-side of Glitz Design pattern paper, and I decided to stamp some circles using acrylic paint. I initially did that in the first layout because my friend Liz was wearing this great polka dot type dress, and my friend Sarah in the layout I'm working on today is also wearing something similar, where there was just like a row of dots. So I decided to replicate that using paint again, and I came across this older set of circle stamps in my stash. They're made by paperheARTs. They're so old. They were great for stamping this. The only problem I have is that they're wood blocks, so it was a bit harder to see where I was placing those circles, but that's all right. I think I improvised that fairly well. So I used just the lid of one of my containers to kind of trace another circle line. In my original layout, I think I used a plate, so they were a bit wider, and I kind of wish I'd done that this time, but oh well, I think it looks just fine. So I'm heating this up, attempting to let paint dry using my heat tool. I just don't have patience to wait for that. I am just kind of daubing off the excess with some of my scrap paper, which I keep underneath this basically magnetic pad. It's just handy to have when I use paint or mist or that kind of thing. So I decided I also wanted to add a bit of gold to some of those circles because I plan to use the gold thickers that are included in this month's kit, and I just wanted gold to be represented elsewhere on the page. So I punched a circle out of a scrap piece of cardstock and used that as a mask to just add some gold to just a few of the circles, not many, just something subtle. And then once that was done, which was kind of runny and kind of weird when I stamped it, when I sprayed it directly over the paint, so it just took a little bit longer to dry, but that's alright. It was kind of fun watching the colors oxidize, as it were. I don't know, I'm just making that up at this point. So I used some of another set of paperheART stamps to fill in those circles. And then I got onto some paper piecing. I cut I think it's a 2-inch circle out of some scrap paper just to make sure I like the size, and then I did that again using some cardstock, heavier cardstock. As you can see, not all of them are complete circles, but that's okay because they're just going to be completely covered up. Then I went and punched some circles out of various pattern papers, and again I wasn't so worried about all of them being perfect circles because they were going to get cut up. I did this with about 4 or 5 different patterns, and I pulled a lot of the colors just from kind of what we were wearing. I liked this chevron from the cut apart sheet that came in the kit, but it was a bit too white, so I used some distress ink to get away from some of the starkness. So I punched all of these circles, and then I cut them into 4s. I didn't measure or anything. It was just kind of best guesstimating to cut these down, and then I pieced them all back together, as you will see here in a moment. So they're kind of, I would say loose pie charts because they're pretty even. But I just like the mix of pattern paper, and there were so many great patterns. I love the black and white patterns in this kit, and then also just adding the colored pieces in was just I liked the contrast. So just kind of no rhyme or reason, and I'm counting to see how many I used in my inspiration original piece. Some of them don't quite fill or cover up the white circle background, but that's alright because they're going to be tucked and placed elsewhere. Oh, I think I'm reloading adhesive there. And again, still just kind of piecing them all together using some of those quadrants. So I'm all done there, and it's back to my page just to kind of figure out where I'm going to lay, which photos I'm going to lay where, and where I'm going to put all of these circles. I kind of just picked my favorite ones. I didn't really think about it as I was putting them together, which combos I liked the best. So at this point is when I kind of figured out what I wanted to place where, and I put some of the bluer squares next to my friend Josh because he's wearing that blue shirt. I put pink squares next to myself and Sarah because I'm wearing pink, she's wearing white. And then Christian has this great kind of mint green shirt on, so I used some of the teal next to him just to kind of enhance that. I was looking for a place to put my journaling, and discovered that those lines on that cut apart sheet. So I pulled all of the yellow off of it because the colors just weren't going to work there. And decided to use that as my journaling block. So I did the same technique as the previous page and just added some, it's very subtle distress ink just so that it's not so white, and then I did that again to the edges of my photos, just because there's a lot of kind of cream-based colors in here. There's not any white in my photos, so or really in the paper that I used. They're all kind of cream-based prints, so I didn't want it to be, too stark. So here I am finally, getting around to adhering down at least the circles, and then I decided to put pop dots on all of the photos just to make them stand out a bit more. I think this is the only circle that ended up getting pop dotted as well, and it was only on 2/3 of that size of the sides, just because. Oh, see, and here's me with getting ink straight onto Josh's face. I tried my best to get as much of it off as possible, but it's something small. It's not that noticeable. It's just something that's going to drive me crazy. So I wanted to add a couple of stamped elements here, and here's a Kelly Perky stamp that I love. It says happiness found here, I think, or happiness right here, and I cut that out, and my battery died, so I had to take a momentary break. In that time, I cut out that stamped image, I added my title, and I added another stamped image. It's one of the Ferris Bueller quotes. It's an old Studio Calico stamp that I got in the kit, and I used it on my original piece, and I just thought it was pretty applicable to this page as well. It's something along the lines of blink and, life passes you by. So there were these great little dots in the kit that I've never seen before. They require adhesive, and I think they're paper made, or made out of paper rather, not metal. So I just kind of sprinkled them around. I was trying to find scrap paper that I could write the guys' names on, and then I realized, oh, this great mustache paper has like guy type sentiments written on the background. So I pulled a couple of those. I think Christian says so handsome, and Josh says charming. So I just pulled just a couple of the phrases from there and glued them next to those guys. And used, the backside of that just to write their names. That was in the original piece as well. One of these days, if I'm too old and can't remember, I want to remember, who these guys are. So adding their names is just, another layer and an extra touch. So gluing down and using, all my scraps. So that was the unfinished circle from one of the things that I cut earlier, and it was perfect for, writing Sarah's name. So I adhered all of those little dots down with Tombow glue, and here's my final page. Thank you all so much for listening. It's been fun just putting all of these great pages together. I love working with these kits, and I'm so appreciative of my time with Little Black Dress Kit. To find out more information, please visit my blog. It's paperheARTproject at blogspot.com. Thanks!